I never believed in signs. To me, numbers were just numbers. Random sequences, coincidences, nothing more. But then they started following me. At first I didn't pay attention. A time on the clock, a receipt total, a license plate. Always. The same numbers, again and again. I shrugged it off. Coincidence, until the night of the accident. I was driving home late. The streets were empty. The radio humming softly in the background. My mind was lost in thought, until something made me look at the dashboard. 2:22 a.m. I froze. That same number again. I'd seen it earlier that day, and the day before. It was everywhere. A chill crawled up my spine. I reached for my phone, feeling the sudden urge to search for the meaning behind it. But before I could, everything went black. A flash of headlights, the screech of tires, then silence. I wasn't in my car anymore. I wasn't anywhere. I was falling, not like in a dream, not weightless. This was something deeper, like I was being pulled away from reality itself. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. The darkness around me wasn't just emptiness. It was alive, watching, waiting. Then I saw it, the number, floating in the abyss before me, glowing faintly, pulsing like a heartbeat. I reached out, desperate for something to hold on to, and the moment my fingers brushed against it, the shadows screamed. A deafening, inhuman wail. The darkness twisted, violently recoiling as if it had been burned. The number's glow intensified, burning brighter and brighter until it was all I could see. And then a voice. Not from the shadows, not from me. A presence beyond anything I had ever known. You were never supposed to ignore it. The words vibrated inside me, shaking me to my core. And in that instant, I knew this number wasn't a coincidence. It had been calling me, and now there was no turning back. I couldn't breathe. The darkness wasn't just surrounding me, it was dragging me deeper into it. The more I struggled, the heavier it became, as if unseen. Hands were pulling me down. I had no body, no voice, just the overwhelming sensation of falling into something I couldn't escape. And then the whispers began, soft at first, then louder. Dozens of voices, overlapping, speaking words I couldn't understand. Mocking, laughing, observing. I wasn't alone. Many things were here with me, watching, waiting. I tried to scream, to move, to fight, but it was useless. I was nothing but a fragment lost in the void. And then, amid the chaos, I saw it again, the number. It flickered in front of me, pulsing like a dying star. 2:22, the same number from my clock, from my receipts, from the countless moments I had ignored. I stared at it, my mind reeling. Why was it here? Why was it appearing now? The whispers grew frantic. The darkness around me tightened, the weight of it unbearable. The number wasn't supposed to be here, and somehow I knew the shadows feared it. I reached for it, desperate, grasping for anything real in this nightmare. The moment my fingers touched the glowing numbers, everything exploded. A shockwave of blinding golden light burst outward, ripping through the darkness like fire-consuming dry paper. The whispers turned to shrieks of agony. The unseen hands released me. The pressure vanished. I felt myself rising, being pulled upward, toward something vast and powerful. And then I saw it. A figure standing within the light. At first it was impossible to comprehend. Not human, not physical. A being of raw energy, radiating a presence so immense it made the darkness seem meaningless. Wings, not feathery but massive, shifting like waves of fire. A face or the suggestion of one, filled with light so intense it blurred all features, and eyes that saw through me, not just my body, my soul, my past, my future. I knew without a doubt this was an angel. Not from stories, not from paintings, something older, something real. It raised a hand, and the remaining darkness shattered. The last echoes of the whispers faded into nothing. The silence was absolute, and then the angel spoke, not in words, in truth. You have been called, and you have ignored the call. I felt the words inside me, vibrating through every cell of my existence. The number, I whispered. It was calling me. The angel didn't move, but I felt the answer before it even spoke. You were never meant to look away. A rush of memories surged through me. Every time I had seen the number, every moment I had dismissed as coincidence, it had been trying to reach me. But why? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The angel extended a hand toward me, and suddenly I saw visions, flashes of people throughout history, all seeing the same numbers. Some ignored them, some followed them, and some vanished before they could understand what they meant. They are messages, the angel said, markers of fate, codes embedded into the fabric of your existence, calling those who are meant to see beyond the illusion. I swallowed hard, my mind reeling. And what happens if we follow them? The angel's presence intensified, the golden fire around it pulsing. Then you awaken. I took a shaky breath. I wasn't sure I wanted to know what that meant. And if we ignore them? The angel's expression didn't change, but something in its gaze grew, heavier. Then you remain blind. The weight of those words crushed into me. I thought of all the people who had told stories about seeing repeated numbers, how most of them brushed it off, how many had ignored a call that wasn't supposed to be ignored. Why me? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The angel finally moved. Because you were chosen to remember. The moment it spoke those words, my hand burned. I gasped, looking down. The number 222 was now glowing on my palm, etched into my skin like a brand. It pulsed with the same energy as the angel. What is this? I asked, panicked. A sign, the angel said, that you cannot turn back now. I looked up at it, fear and awe twisting inside me. What happens next? The angel's wings unfurled, the golden light around it growing brighter, almost blinding. Now you see. And once you see, they see you too. The last thing I remembered was the light exploding around me, and then I woke up. I gasped for air. The beeping of machines filled my ears, the scent of antiseptic burning my nose. My chest ached with every breath, and my head spun as I tried to make sense of where I was. A hospital. I was back. For a long moment, I just lay there staring at the ceiling. My mind was caught between two worlds, the one I had always known and the one I had just seen. The angel, the numbers, the voice that had spoken directly into my soul. You were never meant to look away. Slowly, I lifted my hand. The glowing numbers were gone, but I could still feel them. A phantom burn beneath my skin, as if they had been carved into something deeper than flesh. And then I remembered the angel's final words. Now you see, and once you see, they see you too. A chill ran down my spine. I turned my head toward the hospital window. It was late, past midnight. The world outside was quiet. Too quiet. Then I saw it. A figure standing across the street. Not moving, not blinking, just watching. I couldn't see its face, but something deep inside me knew. It was here because of what I had seen. Because I had awakened, I tore my gaze away, my pulse racing. I needed answers. Ignoring the pain in my body, I reached for my phone. My fingers trembled as I typed into the search bar, seeing the same numbers everywhere, meaning thousands of results. Some sites called it angel numbers. Others labeled it synchronicity. Some dismissed it as a trick of the brain, a psychological pattern, but none of that explained what I had just experienced. I kept scrolling deeper and deeper into forums, hidden threads, obscure texts, until I found something that made my heart stop. A passage, ancient forgotten, from Apocalypse 13:18. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number. My stomach tightened, a number with meaning, a number meant to be seen by those who were ready. and then another passage, buried in a lost text. For those who are called, the numbers shall appear before them, a message woven into the fabric of time itself. Those who awaken shall see, and those who see shall be seen. My blood turned to ice. This wasn't random. It was a message, a marker of fate, and the moment I had acknowledged it, I had stepped into something far bigger than myself. A shiver ran through me as I scrolled further. Stories. People all over the world had experienced the same thing, seeing the same numbers repeatedly, feeling a strange pull toward them. Some claimed they were signs from angels, others believed they were warnings, and then there were those who had disappeared. Their posts cut off abruptly, their accounts deleted, as if someone, something, had erased them. I swallowed, hard, my pulse thundering in my ears, and then a new thought struck me. If the numbers are messages, then who is sending them? I turned off my phone and stared at my reflection in the dark hospital window. I already knew the answer. The angel had told me. You were chosen to remember. You cannot turn back. Now? I had ignored the signs for too long, but now I saw. And the real question wasn't why I had seen the numbers. It was what I was supposed to do with them, because if these numbers were a call, then someone or something was waiting for me to answer. I couldn't sleep, even after everything, even after waking up in the hospital, even after seeing that figure standing across the street. I couldn't shake the feeling that something had changed, something inside me, something in the world around me. I had spent my entire life ignoring the numbers, dismissing them as coincidence. But now I knew the truth. They had always been there, calling me, waiting for me to notice, and now that I had, I wasn't the only one watching. I sat up in the hospital bed, heart pounding. The room was silent, but the air felt heavy, charged with an unseen energy. Then the machines beeped once, then again, then 2:22 a.m. I sucked in a breath. I looked at the clock on the wall. The time was the same. I reached for my phone. The screen lit up 2:22. It wasn't a coincidence, not anymore. You were chosen to remember. The angel's voice echoed in my mind. This was a message, but was it a warning or a test? Then the room grew colder. A slow, creeping chill spread through the air, raising the hairs on my arms. I wasn't alone. I turned my head toward the door. The lights in the hallway flickered, and there, just beyond the glass, was a shadow. It wasn't human, it wasn't moving, but I felt it, watching, waiting. A sickening wave of nausea rolled through me. My chest tightened, my body screaming at me to run, even though I couldn't move. Then the machines flatlined. A long, piercing beep filled the air, but I wasn't the one dying. Something else was happening, and then the angel's voice. They will come for you now. A blinding light erupted into the room, so bright that I had to shield my eyes, and standing at the foot of my bed was him, the angel. His presence was overwhelming, a force beyond comprehension. The golden fire surrounding him burned brighter than before, as if responding to the darkness outside. You have awakened, he said, and now the war begins. I forced myself to sit up, my voice trembled. What war? The angel turned toward the window. The shadowy figure had vanished, but the sense of dread remained. The one that has always been here, he said. The one between those who see and those who do not. I swallowed hard. What do the numbers have to do with this? The angel finally looked at me, his gaze piercing into my soul. Numbers are more than calculations, more than coincidences. They are the language of creation itself, codes woven into the fabric of existence. Those who are meant to see them are meant to wake up. The room felt smaller, as if the very air was pressing in around me. And what happens to those who wake up? I asked. The angel's wings unfurled slightly, his expression unreadable. Some become warriors, he said. Some become prey. A chill ran down my spine. Pray for what? The angel extended his hand and suddenly I saw them. People. Everywhere. Some, like me, had seen the numbers, had followed them, had searched for meaning, but most of them never found it. Some gave up, some disappeared, some were taken. The moment you see, you become visible to them, the angel said, and they do not want you to wake up. Who are they? I whispered. The angel's presence grew heavier, the golden fire around him burning hot. The ones who exist in the spaces, between reality, the ones who have controlled this world from the shadows, the ones who feed on ignorance, who thrive on blindness. They are the reason people do not question. They are the reason history has been rewritten. They are the reason you were never meant to remember. A sharp pain shot through my head, memories flooding back, moments in my life where I had felt watched, times when I had almost questioned something, but then, inexplicably, had forgotten. They have been guiding you your whole life. The angel said, guiding you to stay asleep. I clenched my fists. But the numbers, they weren't from them, were they? No, the angel said, they are from us. Warnings, messages, a way to call those who are ready. And what happens now, I asked. The angel took a step closer. Now you must choose. The weight of his words crushed down on me. Choose what? His golden eyes burned into mine. To remain blind or to fight. The words sent a tremor through my entire being. I thought of the numbers, the visions, the way the shadows had reacted when I finally acknowledged them. If I fight, will they come for me? I asked. The angel didn't answer. He didn't need to. I already knew the truth. Then why would anyone choose to wake up? The angel smiled, not with warmth, but with certainty, because those who wake up cannot be controlled. The fire around him flared, and I felt something inside me shift, as if my very soul was being rewritten. Once you see, you cannot unsee, he said. I exhaled shakily. Then I choose to see. The angel's wings exploded outward, the golden flames consuming everything, and in that final moment before everything vanished, I saw the numbers again. Not just one, thousands everywhere, and then I understood. I gasped. Air rushed into my lungs, burning like fire. My body convulsed, my fingers gripping the thin fabric of the hospital bed as I struggled to understand. I was back. The machines beeped steadily beside me. The sterile scent of antiseptic filled my nostrils. But something was different. I wasn't the same person who had left. I turned my head toward the window. It was still dark outside. The city lights flickered, distant and cold. I glanced at the clock on the wall. 3:33 a.m. A chill ran through me. Not 222, a new number. I looked down at my hands. They were trembling, but not from fear. From something else, something awakened. I slowly uncurled my fingers and turned my palm upward. At first glance, there was nothing. Just my skin, smooth and unmarked. But then, a flicker. Faint. Subtle. The numbers were still there, invisible to the world, but burned into me like a brand. My entire body tensed. What had the angel said? Now you see, and once you see, they see you too. A sudden pressure filled the room, thick and suffocating. I wasn't alone. I forced myself to sit up, my heart pounding. Then the lights flickered. A shadow moved just beyond the hospital door. I froze. Someone was standing there, watching, waiting. Not a doctor, not a nurse, something else. I felt my stomach tighten. They knew. I had seen too much. I grabbed my phone, my fingers shaking as I opened the browser. I needed to know more. I typed frantically, repeating numbers, meaning. Thousands of results appeared. I scrolled past the generic interpretations, angel numbers, spiritual messages, manifestation signals. None of that explained what I had just experienced. I kept searching, deeper, darker, and then I found it. An old forum, abandoned, forgotten. The last post was years ago. I clicked on it. A single thread titled, "Do you keep seeing the same numbers? Read this before it's too late." My breath hitched. I clicked. The first post appeared. A user whose name was nothing but random symbols had written, "If you are reading this, you've seen them. The numbers, they are not coincidences. They are not angel messages. They are warnings. You are being watched. They don't want you to know what the numbers really mean. Once you see them, once you understand, you can never go back." I swallowed hard, scrolling further. Other users had replied. Some talked about how the numbers had led them to strange coincidences, as if their lives had been mapped out long before they realized it. Others claimed that after acknowledging the numbers, they began to feel like they were being followed. Then the posts stopped. The last message was short. "If you start seeing them in your dreams, run." My chest tightened. Dreams. I had seen them, not just in reality, but in the void, in the place between. The hospital felt colder. The pressure in the room grew stronger. Then a new reply popped up on the forum. I froze. The thread had been dead for years. No new posts, no activity. But now, a new message appeared. No username, no profile picture, just a single sentence. "You are not supposed to know." My heart nearly stopped. The screen glitched, flickering for a moment before the page refreshed. The entire forum was gone, deleted, erased, as if it had never existed. A chill shot through my spine. I turned toward the window again. The shadow outside was gone. But I knew they were still there, watching, waiting. I closed my eyes, taking a slow, steady breath. I had a choice. I could pretend I had never seen the truth, forget everything, go back to my normal life. Or I could keep searching, keep fighting, because now I understood. The numbers weren't just random messages, they were coordinates, a signal, a warning, and a test. I clenched my fists, feeling the invisible numbers burn beneath my skin. I was awake now, and I wasn't going back to sleep, ever again.